Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. And as we see the curtain come down on the 29th Ludlow Food Festival, all I have to say is what a fantastic time we had there. There were thousands of people there. The weather was spectacular. I think there was a little bit of rain on the Sunday, but I don't think that would have dampened anyone's spirits. The 3 stages were fully attended with capacity crowds on every day. It was an absolutely stunning festival and a resounding success. And I think everyone who attended, everyone who took part, should be looking forward to the 30th anniversary of that festival coming up in 2024 in September, early September. I, for one, will be looking forward to it myself. What a resounding success. So we were appearing on the Castle Garden stage, and I gave a talk for around about half an hour on hot smoked salmon. I was demonstrating a hot smoked salmon to produce a dish. Anyway, I won't say any more. I'll let you see the video. If you like the video, please leave your comments, let us know what you think, and I'll catch up with you at the end.
So let's start, and welcome you to the Castle Garden stage. Welcome back. Sorry, do you need us before we start? We do need a book. I'm going to sit in the corner and read. This is... So your name is Turan,
yes.
And your middle name begins with T as well?
Yes.
Wow.
So if there's any Trekkies out there, you will nickname me Tiberius.
You've got it all.
That's what they used to call me.
If you're a Trekkie, you'll know it. Turan, food smoking is what we're going to do. Turan.
Yes.
Turan is with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming to demonstrate something that's nice and warm for a nice warm day.
Sorry, folks.
An art that is... What is this? How did you fall into this?
So I had it as a passion. I really like smoking my own food, curing my own meats. So I used to cure my own bacon, make my own salamis, and smoked salmon was something that I really enjoyed. But to show you how to make smoked salmon, cold smoked salmon that is, on a day like today would be a bit of a fool's errand really, because it takes about 3 days. So I'm going to do for you today some hot smoked salmon. And this is some Scottish smoked salmon that I ordered down a while ago. This is a middle fillet, and it's been pin-boned and brined. And the brine I've used for this is 100 grams of salt in 1 litre of water. And you leave it in there for about 25 minutes and then take it out. And I've vacuum packed it here, but I've only done that really because I'm coming here today to put it into my smoke.
The interesting thing about you is you used to be a fireman and now you're making fire. That's true, right?
Yeah, in a way, yes. So for 30 years I was telling people how bad smoke is
and now,
and how dangerous it is, and now I'm telling people actually it's not that bad, you know.
Yeah.
But we use it
in moderation.
In moderation. We're using it in a different way, in a creative way, to flavour our food. Traditionally, food smoking was done to preserve food, and really, when you hot smoke food, all you're doing is you're cooking it in the presence of smoke. Now, I'm mindful that we've got, we're limited by time here today, so first thing I want to do is to get the salmon going in the smoker. So if I can do that...
You can.
Right, so the first thing I've got here is, this is what's known as a Cameron's mini smoker, and you can get these on the internet. We sell them on our webshop, coldsmoking.co.uk, and that'll give you links also to my YouTube channel as well, Cold Smoking Digital Cookery School. And this essentially is like a little oven. It sits on a gas stove here. It does work on induction, not so good on electric. You can use it directly on a fire, but you need that contact from flame on the base so that you can decompose the wood chips in here to create smoke. Obviously with the old fire brigade background, I don't want to get too technical and say that we're going to pyrolyse the smoke in the presence of heat and then obviously create that lovely smoke to give a beautiful flavour.
You can if you want, it sounds quite sexy.
Does it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Right, so I'm putting in here, I'll show you, about a tablespoon of beach chips.
There's the camera there.
So you can see that?
Yeah.
So those beach chips, you don't need any more than that, and I put them directly over where the flame's going to be. So that will sit over the flame like so. we've got a little food rack here, and basically this just separates the food from the wood chips. And then I'm just going to take my salmon that I've pre-brined out the bag, and I will wear gloves for this because
Freshly taken from the petrol station this morning.
no. Faint whiff of
Yeah, I
diesel.
don't want to give away my own habits.
So we'll get that on there like so. And that's about an 800 gram portion there.
With skin on.
With the skin on. That's actually a good point you raised there, because you do need the skin on that salmon, because when you hot smoke it, without the skin it would just fall apart, so you couldn't really handle it. Which is a good point, because I need to get this on, because if we don't get this on, so gas on, so this is a full gas, and I'll wait until I can see some smoke, and the lid literally just slides on like so, and then that will go for around about 15 minutes. And while that's so
Already
you
we're
can
seeing
see,
smoke,
so you
yeah.
can see the smoke coming out there now. We'll close that.
Where do you get the chippings from?
So again, you can buy these on the internet. They're pretty ubiquitous. I sell these on the website. God, I don't know if I mentioned it.
No, you didn't at all.
Coalsmoking.co.uk.
Well done.
We sell the wood chips on there as well.
I'm looking at my watch. Do I need to keep a time on this?
Yeah, so good. I'm glad you mentioned it. Right, so it's 35 now, so we'll give it, I'll check it after a bit, so give me 10 minutes and
Okay.
I'll check it. So what we're going to do with this salmon is we're going to present it, and I'm going to present it on a bed of lightly pickled cucumber strips, and that's basically you take a cucumber using potato peeler, you take lovely strips of it, and then you marinate it in this lovely cider vinegar. Now I'm using my own homemade 6-year-old cider vinegar, and I've got some crushed fennel seeds in here just to infuse a little bit of flavour. So that's going to be our base. On top of that, I've got some florets of cauliflower, and these have been tossed in a sauce made from creme fraiche and horseradish sauce. So really delicious. And to give it a really nice visual effect once we've flaked the salmon onto this dish is some cubed, balsamic cured squares or cubes of beetroot. Out of my garden, incidentally. We've had very good success with the old beetroot this year.
It's smelling already.
So yeah, we're getting some beef smoke there. But so while this is all going, because I've done all this prep, all we need to do at the end is assemble it. So while that's cooking, let me talk you through some other little techniques for smoking. So this is hot smoking, which is a cooking method in the presence of smoke. If you do want to cold smoke, where you want to generate smoke without the heat, so in other words, if you want to make cold smoked salmon, for instance, then you want to separate the heat from the smoke. And I use a couple of different methods for that. And I bought a particularly small version today. I was at the food festival last year and I bought a massive box, and I stood behind it, and I think anyone passing would have just seen a cardboard box talking. Right? So I decided maybe that might not be a bad thing actually. But this is essentially a cardboard box smoker, and literally this has all the features that you need for a cardboard box. So it's got a hole in the lid to let a little bit of smoke out. The inner leaves have been cut down so that they don't flop on the food when you close the box. It's got these two little dowels going all the way through so that you can actually put a rack on top of that. And this is perfect for smoking a little bit of cheese, okay? So don't go spending hundreds of pounds on smoked cheese. And we generate smoke in this by using a smoke generator. Again, I sell these on the website, but they are on the internet. Many different sites sell these. This is a ProQ smoke generator, and you fill this full of dust. I think I've got some here. So this is ash dust. It's a very fine chip actually, but you fill this full of that, you light it at the end, and that burns around in a spiral here, and this will last for around about 8 to 10 hours.
And you're putting that in here?
and then that sits on a metal tray because I've been told somewhere along
So
the
I was
line.
going to say cardboard famously catches fire,
Yeah,
quite easily.
You know, I had this saying when I was in the fire brigade: the world is combustible.
Yeah.
Live with it.
Right.
So basically, we baked. Yeah, do this outside, okay? Right. So this
Do it at
sits,
someone else's house if I were you.
and have a bucket of water handy if you're not sure. But make sure it's on a metal tray. This does not flare up if it's used correctly. So I like this with a brûlée torch, but it normally comes with a little sort of like candle light. It sits in there. You're supposed to take that out after 30 seconds. That goes in there, creates a nice cool smoke. Now, I'm showing you a box that's very small. You need to do this in a box that's about 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. This is really here just for practical purposes, okay? So I don't want you going home saying, well, I used that little box and everything got cooked inside it, because it is cold smoking, but this smoke generator still does give off a little bit of heat. So the bigger the box, the more chance you have of dissipating that heat so that you don't get your food spoiled by it. So cheese is really good in this. You can smoke some haddock, you just need to give it a light brine, and there we go. So that's a nice little sort of
Does
thing.
the smoke ever come with a flavour? Or can you add something in to make the smoke flavour the thing that you're cooking?
So we sell
thing?
something in the region of about 12 different varieties of wood dust
Right.
chips. So from hickory to whiskey oak to sweet chestnut to beech to maple to oak to apple to cherry. There's a whole range of different aromas that you get from each one of those particular smokes. So beech I like using because it's quite mild. It's a sort of a sweet smoke, and it's pretty good with most foods, fish, cheese, and meats as well. But things like hickory, that goes really well with pork. Apple, it's fantastic with cheese. But it's really down to personal choice. Whatever really floats your boat. If you like the aroma of a particular wood dust, one of our favourite wood dusts that we sell is whiskey oak, made from old whiskey barrels that have been crushed down into chips and stuff. So you keeping an eye on the time?
I am, yeah, I am.
Okay.
And you've got a website, you say?
So we have a website. I think I mentioned it once.
You get
Got away
that
with it.
smoked stuff there.
Yeah, so that's coldsmoking.co.uk. We have a shop on there, and we do sell things like these smokers. We also sell things like wood chips, the smoke generators, and we also do a whole range of bacon curing salts as well. So if you're into making your own bacon and salt beef and things like that, come and see us. We do.
And is there a set times? Is it a bit by eye? If you open it too soon, do you undo any of your work?
Yeah, so if I was to open this now, we wouldn't do any damage. It's not a bad thing to actually have a look in just to make sure, so that's exactly
Shall we have a look
what
then?
we're doing now. So let's have a look.
Looks again safe. Oh, look at that.
So that actually,
Now, I don't think, can you see that on the screen? You can't? Okay, so stop. And it's a
Okay.
lovely glazed kind of.
so that's a really nice dark colour. There is sufficient heat in there, I think, certainly on a day like today,
Yeah.
to not give that any
This is
more
one for the
heat.
mantelpiece, Sarah. Look at that. Look at that. Look what you could have won. There you go.
Okay, so
Well, that's not ready.
No, it's
How
not
do you
ready.
know?
Right, so just from experience, I've taken the heat off, okay, so there's no heat on there now, gas is off, and what we're going to do is we're just going to let that rest for a bit, probably for another few minutes, and let me show you another little smoker that I've got. So, any of you are thinking, well, I can't afford a cardboard box, and you want to generate smoke using one of these little things. This is a polyscience smoking gun. You can pick these up on the internet for a few quid. I say a few quid, they're about 70 quid.
So you can afford that, but not the box.
A lot of few quid.
I see. If it comes with a box, then you.
Perfect. If it comes in a box.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So anyway, to smoke food, to cold smoke food especially, all you need is a container to keep the food in the same place as the smoke, okay? Without the heat, of course. And so I've seen all sorts of interesting things as cold smokers. So if you go on my website, you'll see my old original cold smoker.
Have you got a website?
I think I mentioned
Right.
it. And On there, I use a purpose-built smoker. It's made of timber, but people will use anything. And I've seen kitchen cabinets being used. I've seen a 4-drawer filing cabinet being used as a smoker, where you have the food on racks in the trays, and at the very bottom you have the smoke generator. So people use all sorts of things. Anything that will keep the smoke in the same place.
Does anyone do any home smoking, by the way? Yes, so what do you use?
Well, the same smoke generator you've got there.
That smoke generator, anything else?
The actual smoke cabinet
Alright?
started out life as a garden chair.
A garden chair?
Which I then used shiplap to build the top of.
Perfect.
And the underneath separated with slate and with the smoke underneath.
Alright.
And racks on top.
Lovely.
And is it good?
It's excellent.
Yeah, well done, sir.
So if you just want to do a little bit of cheese, say for instance Edam, which is probably one of my favourite smoked cheeses. Don't ask me why, but it just is. It just really goes well with smoke. I just pop a little bit of Edam in there, cut piece, close that off, and this is just one of those takeaway containers. Little hole here to let the smoke in, some holes in there, I don't know if you can see that. Just punch through with a hot skewer so that the smoke can come out. So your cheese goes in there. I put my smoke generator in there, and we'll light that,
Wow, what's happening here?
and that will fill up with smoke.
Cheers, man.
A little bit.
I believed you when you told me. That's like a mashed potato.
Yeah, so imagine our cheese in there just bathing in that smoke. All we need to do is just leave that, walk away until the smoke dissipates, take it out, and we have our smoked cheese. It's as simple as that. And really, if there's anything you want to just put into this box just to give it a little bit of an aroma of smoke, then you can do that.
And if you let the smoke dissipate,
Yeah.
then what if you did it again? Would you get super smoked?
Yeah, so it would get really kind of very, very smoky, and you can over smoke stuff. It can be a little bit too acrid. I tend to go for the sort of less is more approach. Not then, obviously,
No.
but just
What do you
really-
smoke, sir? What do you do in your garden chair?
A beach up with the oak, wine barrels.
Yeah. What food do you do?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Salmon. Try to give me a smoked meat.
Salmon, like ribs and stuff.
No, just a piece of pork loin.
Very nice.
Mackerel.
Mackerel's wonderful. In fact, I'm just at this very moment, well not right now obviously, but I'm putting together a video of catch and cook mackerel.
You've got a YouTube channel.
I've got a YouTube channel, and that's Cold Smoking Digital Cookery School. We're nearly 3,000 subscribers, and we've got about 180 videos on there, all sorts of different smoking, curing. I do a little bit of beekeeping as well, so there's a few beekeeping videos on there. That hasn't gone so well this year. I've lost a few colonies over winter, but that's another story.
Okay.
So here's our salmon. What I'm going to do with that,
Can you see? Has everyone seen that? I think we're about that. Is that the right place? Yeah.
can you see that? Is that right in the shot? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Perfect, because this is where I'm going to construct the plate. So
There, that's fine.
yeah, that's okay.
That's it, yeah.
Right. So ordinarily what we need to do with this salmon is we need to tease it gently off the rack and just pop it on the board. And all we're doing is we're just letting it cool down because it's very hot and we don't really, well, we want to let it carry on cooking. And just as a test, what I like to do is just open it up a fraction, and you can see the flakes come apart, so it's nicely cooked through. We don't want it to be too under, we certainly don't want it to be over. So I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do, I'll just have a little bit of a shuffle around. So we'll start putting together some of our ingredients. So the first thing I'm going to put on there is the cured cucumber, and these are just very, very simply done strips of cucumber, like these little ribbons, and we just dress the plate with these. And we've got a bit of time, so so some of the videos that I'm planning, I just did a wonderful fishing trip down to Alderney over the last couple of days. I got back last week and I caught loads and loads of sea bream, so I'm just about to put a video out on cooking some sea bream on the barbecue and giving it a little bit of smoke. I really do love doing fish. I think it's something that is such a nice, clean protein, and I think a lot of people are scared of fish. Not actually because they fish, but just the prep of it, you know? I think they tend to sort of defeat a little people when they try and worry about the bones or filleting it and stuff like that. So I want to try and demystify some of that for people. But there's, if you're interested in how to smoke oil for a dressing or anything like that, go to the channel, Cold Smoking Digital Cookery School. We've got videos on how to do that.
Not just fish though then?
No, not just fish. So we do meats, ribs. I use barbecues for smoking. So if you've got a barbecue at home and you want to learn how to use that to create smoke and cook on there successfully, I think a lot of people tend to overcook stuff on barbecue because maybe they haven't been shown really good technique how to do it, and it's a lot easier than people perhaps think. I mean, once you've tried to do it the right way. Sorry, I'm sweating a little. It's a little bit warm. There we go. Yeah, perfect. There we are. Lovely. Right, so these are our cauliflower florets, and these have been infused, or not infused, but mixed with creme fraiche and horseradish sauce, so they give a nice little bite. And all you do with this is you break down the cauliflower so that you've got it in the smallest little florets that you can get. You just immerse them in hot water for around about 20 to 30 seconds and then straight out. You don't want them to be cooked, so you want them to have sort of parboil, sort of like a blanch if you were going to freeze them, so that you can pop this directly on here and get a little bit of crunch. So we want some textures because we know that the salmon's going to be soft, and the horseradish gives it a nice little kick as well. This is ideal for a little starter. You can make this into a starter, or you can make it into a sharing platter. So this is more of the sharing platter size. So while I'm doing this, what's happening with the salmon is that's cooling down. Some of the fats in that salmon are beginning to sort of solidify, so that when we do flake it, it will hold its shape. Because one of the things we don't want is the salmon to go all over the place.
Now, have you got a time in your head that you're actually resting that for?
So I'm resting it really, no, not really. It's really just so it cools down a little bit. It gives me a bit of time to waste doing this.
Right.
That's
one of the different part of the magic.
But ideally, if we had a fridge here, I would pop that in the fridge for 5 minutes, and that would be absolutely fine. Okay, so I think we're ready for it now. And all we're going to do is pop some gloves on, because we're now going to break this by hand. It's sometimes a lot easier to do that. I'll try and do it over the camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing. But I love salmon. It's a really nice. It's a really nice protein.
It's not hard to cook. If I can cook it and it tastes nice, then
yeah. So we'll just take the skin off this, and the skin comes off really well when it's hot. Okay, so being able to peel the skin off like that is spot on. So what we want to do with this is we want to just flake the fish onto here, like so. And you can take your time with this. But yeah, so the YouTube channel's gone really well. So we've got about 180 videos on there at the moment, all sorts of things. We did a venison salami a few weeks ago, which was really nice. And that was from Chinese water deer that I broke down. There's a video on breaking that down as well.
Where do you get a Chinese water deer from?
So there's lots of people who shoot Chinese water deers for their sins, but it's a very well managed source of protein.
Is it?
It's very clean meat. Obviously it's sustainable because they have to manage the herds, otherwise they cause lots and lots of damage. So to be able to use it for the cookery that I do, I think it's really nice, and it's a very lean protein as well. So if you are looking at cutting back on fats in your diet, but you still like meat, then it's a pretty good option if you can get hold of it. Currently, Chinese water deer is said to be probably one of the best sort of deer flavours you can get. Again, opinions divided on this stuff, you know. Some people think not, some people think yeah.
Bring some next time. Have a go.
So we're just dotting this, these little cubes of beetroot onto our creation here, and these have been infused in balsamic vinegar, and I believe this is gluten-free balsamic vinegar, if anyone's gluten-free. So this is a gluten-free dish.
Do you do all this as well? You do all the...
yeah, so I prepped all this. I even brewed this beetroot, so...
And as well, that people if can learn along online, that's part of your...
Yeah, so if anyone wants to see this whole dish being created, there is actually a video on the YouTube channel showing you this particular dish being created, and that, I hope you'd agree, let's put that one down, is a visually stunning thing to put on your dinner party. I'll just clean up the... Yeah, so that's nice.
It's a glass of white wine, I think.
If anyone wants to just run away and get some white wine.
We're away. Any questions about smoking things? Whilst we just finishing chefy touches to this.
Yeah, I know, sorry. So that...
You have one, sorry, can you shout out, madam? Shout out.
I was just going to say, we live in a house, we've got quite sensitive smoke detectors. What happens if you're smoking indoors and you set off your detector? Because we've got dogs and they go ballistic when the detector goes off.
Other than the fire brigade turning up, I'll take it. So, serious question, yes, absolutely right.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be doing this in your kitchen unless you've got a really good extractor. I mean, even with my extractor at home, I've had instances where we've had the fire alarm go off. But ideally, if you're hot smoking, I tend not to do that indoors because it does create quite a lot of smell, and fish, we all know about fish cookery in kitchens, you know you've done it there for a couple of weeks. So what I tend to do is spend about 15-20 quid on one of these portable stoves, have a table outside, and that's where you do your smoke cookery. But
It's either that or get rid of the dogs. I suppose, the joke. Doing it outside would seem the sensible thing if you had it outside, yeah. Was there another, sir? Go on.
Did you start with fresh salmon?
Fresh salmon?
So yeah, that was fresh salmon. It had been frozen because I normally buy 2 5-kilo sides of salmon. I make smoked salmon with one, and then I portion one down to use at a future date. I knew I was coming here, so a couple of months ago when I was breaking down that salmon, I pre-brined it, vacuum packed it, and then put it in the freezer along with a lot of the other sides that I got as well. So yes, that you can do it with fresh salmon. A lot of the salmon that we buy from the shops now has actually been frozen. Unless you buy it straight from the salmon farm, it's usually kind of pre-frozen. But yeah, you can use fresh fish.
Can you smoke that as well? So can you cold smoke that?
Yeah, you can. But so when you cold smoke fish, you can't just put the raw fish straight into the smoker. That just won't work. You do need to apply a dry salt cure to it. What that does is it draws out the moisture. And you know, some people use just salt. Some people will mix salt and sugar together, so it cuts through that salty flavour. I think some people are a lot more sensitive to salt than other people. I tend to be quite tolerant to high salt. I think most chefs are. They don't mind seasoning their food quite strongly. So yeah, but you need to do that first for about 12 hours. Wash that off, pat it dry the salmon in the fridge, and then it goes into a cold smoke.
Sir, yeah.
Yeah, you're next to me, I can tell you. I wait till just coming up to Christmas, the holiday time, particularly Christmas because it's cold. Just before Christmas, the salmon was being sold off in the supermarkets. Buy a couple, get them to fill it, take the whole lot away, make soup out of the carcass, and also salmon mousse, and use the fillets to make whole smoked salmon.
Yeah.
Are you saying that's the cheaper or a better way of doing it?
And
The gentleman suggested buying a whole salmon just before Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those who don't hear
two
it.
or three.
Or two or three or four.
So
yeah.
Only just finished ours. But the cure, I use some 50-50 salt and sugar.
Yeah.
And make it into a paste with gin.
Okay. Sounds to me more like a grabberlax,
Yeah.
because with traditional smoked salmon you wouldn't generally have sugar or an alcohol with it. But depends on personal
Yeah.
preference, and I put sort of whiskey on smoked salmon just to give it that extra bit of kick. But generally speaking, it's a dry salt. Can I just say though, there are some really good deals to be had out there with salmon. So especially in the run up to Christmas, as you rightly said, but also in the run up to Easter as well. The supermarkets usually buy in bulk and they really drop their prices, so you can get literally a whole salmon for around about 17 quid. So the ones I buy, 5 kilo ones I buy from Scotland and get them shipped down, they're about 40 quid each. But they're literally, you get them the next day. So they were alive and you get them absolutely fresh. Downside of supermarket salmon is you don't really know how long it's actually been out in the fridge, whether you're getting one from the top of the pile that's been exposed to sort of ambient temperatures. So there are issues around that. But so here's the dish. This is the finished dish.
And what are you calling this?
So this is our hot smoked salmon on a bed of pickled cucumber, with some beetroot, balsamic beetroot and cauliflower florets with horseradish.
Fantastic.
Rolls off the tongue.
Wow, very good. Yeah, it does, yeah. There is a book to go with the demo as well, which our colleagues at Aardvark Books on the table there have. What's in the book? It's just an instructional.
So if anyone's thinking about setting up a smoker or creating a smoker, it's got the plans in there for the cardboard smoker. It shows you all the techniques for getting it smouldering, a little bit of the theory about
The
it.
cardboard box is in there, isn't it? I think
It is, yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to add this to your chef's collection, then the table just there from with the guys and girls from Aardvark Books will help you. Your YouTube channel is
Cold Smoking Digital Cookery School.
Everyone needs to go and subscribe. And
Yes, and if you like any of the videos, please give it a big thumbs up. Do leave us your comments if you've got any comments, or let us know what you've done if you're into that sort of thing. And we always reply to our comments.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you, Taran, for your demo for the smoking. I think we've gone away with an idea or two there, and we've learned something new as well. And thank you for listening. A round of applause for Taran.
Well, these shows don't just happen. They take a huge effort from a lot of people, and I would just like to say a massive thank you to Andrew Easton for hosting me on the stage. He's from BBC Radio Herefordshire and Worcester, and little did I know that he'd worked the morning shift at the radio show in the BBC before coming to do the hosting at Ludlow Food Festival. So a big thank you to him. I'd also like to extend a big thank you also to the volunteers at Ludlow Food Festival, and in particular Karen, who was working behind the scenes at the Castle Garden stage to make sure that everything I needed was in place and ready for exactly when I needed it. So a big thank you, Karen, for that. I much appreciate it. And lastly to Katie and Glyn from What's Cooking. Without them, those stages wouldn't be there, and the effort that they put into making that whole festival work in terms of the demo stages is second to none. So a massive thank you to them. And also the organisers of Ludlow Food Festival. And, you know, it's one of the premier food festivals in the UK. It's always around the first 2 weeks in September. But they've got a very good website and they give all the details. Next year, 2024, is going to be their 30th year doing that food festival. And like I said, it is one of the major food festivals in the UK. Those are my dedications. I just wanted to say that it wouldn't be a complete video without me giving those thanks. So hopefully I'll see you next year. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of our other content. There's probably something there that might pique your interest, especially if you've got this far through this video. I'm sure there's some other stuff on there that you might like. Anyway, in the meantime, take care of yourself, and I'll catch up with you on the next video. Bye bye now. Bye.